Okay, we will now add some walls. To do that, we will first add some layers, and we'll create a new layer or two layers. Oh, sorry, wrong one. This one here. It will come up eventually. There it is. Okay, so the other thing while we're looking at the layers, okay, let's have a look at this. Before I create some layers, have a look at this. Alright, here we have some layers already. These are the layers that came in from the slab, okay? So these layers have got the prefix of the name of the file in front. So one thing is to note that. The other thing is that it's a good idea not to have a huge name for your files. You know, don't write a whole essay for your file name, because that will end up on the front of your layer name if you extract that file into something else later. Which then, when you're looking in here, you won't be able to see what the actual layer name is. Suppose you want to turn off the beams from the slab, you can quite easily do that. Or if I want to turn off the slab itself here, I can actually do that. If I can't read the word slab and everything is slab 10-final plus whatever gobbledygook is after that, how do you know which layer belongs to what? It's very difficult. So there, I turned off the slab and still having the whole things on the slab anyway, because we unioned it anyhow. But if you have a look in here, there's the centroid that might be on a different layer, and I can turn that off. Okay, so for example, we can do the text. That's a good example. All right. So going back to this, that's the way it's shown. What it is, that's the pipe symbol. It's just a vertical sort of character separating the actual layer name. We're going to look at a thing called binding later on. That will change. That naming there will change. We'll put in some sort of a dollar sign in there, $0 we'll replace it. So just be aware of that. We'll come to that eventually. All right. I came in here to create a couple of new layers, and they are relating to my wall and maybe the roof even, if I get that far. But let's go with wall dash brick, and new layer here, wall dash stud, whatever you want to call it. It is a hierarchical system I'm using, and you can apply this to anything. You can apply it to whatever you're doing, whatever discipline you're in. The idea is that you're grouping same stuff together. So all the ceiling stuff might go into ceiling, or the mechanical stuff, or the site plan might go into site, or it might go into civil works or whatever. So just group stuff together so that you can easily turn things on and off. So there's a wall, and there's a sub element of a wall. We have a brick cover wall, we have a timber or a stud, or it might be concrete blocks or whatever it might be. So I'm going to give the brick a color. Notice that usually when I start with this template, it drops me into the true color section. I will stick to the usual 256 colors, and I'm going for red. Alright, just because I'm boring. Let's go with this one here. We'll make this one green. There you go, boring again. Yes. Alright, so okay, let's set this layer. Let's go with wall brick. I'm going to use, just close that now. I'm going to use the polysolid command, but you can use any other method you like, but I find that easier. So let's go to this polysolid command. Just turn that off as well. Okay, here we go. Click that. All right. So here we go. Let's just see if we can snap onto some of this stuff. Before I do that, I might actually turn off the grid, this one here, and I might just put it on with edges. It might be easier to see, hopefully, I don't know. Let's go with polysolid. Actually, it comes like this. I wish I didn't have perspective on. When you zoom in, it just doesn't, it just zooms in very quickly. I'm just going to type in perspective, because it's quicker, and just type in 0. And hopefully when I zoom in, I've got a bit more control with this thing when I'm orbiting around. gives a bit more control. So perspective and put in 0 just turns that off. Okay, so let's go with the polysolid for the third time, and let's do that. Just zoom in here and you can latch onto here. Now, we haven't done any settings, so it's probably not the right thing to do. So let's try for the fourth time, and this time we'll probably. Let's go with the height. I said maybe we'll make it about 400 millimeters, and the width for the wall will be, we'll do the external wall, external first if you like, doesn't matter. Let's go with 110, that will be 110. We will have a 50 millimeter gap for the cavity, and then 90 millimeter for the internal walls, which will be on the start layer. Justification, I'll go with my usual left, and now I can begin actually from here and walk around the house and see what happens. So let's do that, and to the corner there, zoom out to then orbit around, and just have a look here. Again, zooming out, orbiting, shift key down, middle mouse button pressed, and you can then orbit that around the thing. The last one is going to go C for close, or click on the close here if you go release 13 onwards, and it does that. Alright, the problem is now I've got to do the internal wall, and I can't see exactly where my step is to start that from. So what I'm going to do is actually turn off the relevant layer, which is, first of all, I'll make wall starts current, and then I'll turn off this one here. Then you won't ask any questions. So we will then go to solid. Solid, that will do from here. Now everything is sort of set up except for the width is not quite right. That should be 90 now. Enter that. The 50 millimeter gap is automatically sorted out for us by this rebate. So if you start from there, it will automatically allow 50 millimeters for us. Okay, so let's go with another endpoint here, and over here we'll just swing around a little bit. Okay, here we go. There it is, and here, there it is. So be careful you pick up the top, not the bottom end point, and C for close, and spacebar for enter if you prefer. Okay, just another enter. Now I can turn on, for example, the other one. So down here, and there we have that much thus far. There it is. Okay, so internally we can just put in a couple of walls anywhere really, doesn't really matter. So we'll just continue again with the polysolid, and we can put the wall somewhere on this wall here. I can do shift right click, and I can just pick up the nearest. That will do. It should latch itself onto there hopefully. There we go. Put ortho on, won't press F8 in this instance, and I'll just turn off that because I'm just going to go across here. I'll just type on, I'll just give it a number, say 3000. You can do it that way, and of course you can do anything you like. You can even do a little L-shaped thing if you prefer, and you can go shift right click perpendicular to that, and hopefully end up on there. Enter the finish, see what we got. We've got something like that in plan view. Alright. Okay, now we can move across here and put another wall here, same manner, nearest. Just go to say there. Oh, nice one. Okay, what have we done there? Yes, look at that. Oh, that's really gorgeous. Not sure what's happening there. Try that again. Nearest. There it is. It's coming out. Okay. So yeah, you can put numbers, or you can just go just random. Perpendicular to that. That'll ensure it finishes on that wall, hopefully. It doesn't look like it to me, so I need to see what's going on here. Sometimes it works better on wireframe, sometimes it doesn't. There it is. Okay, so that looks a bit smaller to me, a bit lower. So there's an issue here where I latched on to start with. See that? It's actually gone below. So I've got a little issue there to deal with. Okay, that was not intentional, of course. Um, so let's have a look at what is going on here. Whether we can fix it through properties is another story. Let's have a look. What have we got in properties? This is handy, or hopefully it's handy. It might not be. Sometimes it's got an elevation where you can actually type in the number and move it up. It doesn't seem to have that in this instance. So what I'll do is change this to wireframe perhaps, and see if I can lift it up. We actually, anyway, we actually are out. Looking at it like that, we're actually in the wrong everything. So it's just a matter of using the move command really to move this up. Pick it up from somewhere, but where do you put it? That's the other thing. It seems to have come in a little bit too far in, but yeah, your standard move command should do it. So we can't see where it's going right now. That's the nearest. I can't see 8, can you see? Yeah, we'll go about there. Alright. We have lifted it up, I think, but it's probably the whole thing's moved over. In that case, you can opt to redo it, for example. Let's have a look what we've done. Okay, looks like we are actually okay there. This one here is a bit poking out. Now, what can we see here? This is actually one unit, so we can't really change it easily. So you might have to redo that one. Might be the easiest way. It's not like Revit where it might be easier to change. But we haven't done. No, we haven't done Revit yet. We'll get there. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I'll fix it up in a minute. Let you have a play with that. Then we'll look at putting in some doors and windows in here in a minute.